Avengers! Assemble.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Excelsior, the world's #1 Marvel's Avengers podcast. I'm your director, Christian Buckley, here for your episode for the weekend of October 22nd with the Apex legend, the Pumpkin King, Jack Martin. How are you?
Excelsior, Christian. I'm doing well. Not a lot of Marvel stuff going on.
No.
Been playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas, I'll tell you what. Hall of Game inductee, Fallout New Vegas. So that's been my free time. But yeah, I've been doing well. But how about you? You have some exciting news to share?
Yes. So this has been a process that's been going on for about a month at this point, but I've been brought on as the social lead for TechRaptor, the website, techraptor.net.
Congratulations. That is very exciting.
Thank you. Yes, the team's great. I've been getting adjusted this week, first week vibes, but...
Oh, I understand. I understand that all too well. But yeah, that is fantastic. It's very, very nice to hear that you're working in the games industry, in a sense. So that's awesome.
Yeah, very exciting. This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. So thank you, listeners, for always supporting the stuff that we do over here. And Jack, thank you as well for being a great podcast co-host in all these years, because it's absolutely helped me get to where I am. So thank you.
Yeah, you provided the foundation for all of us at JoyClick. So it's been a pleasure, and yeah, thanks for everything you do, and congrats. Very, very well deserved.
Thank you very much. This week, though, pretty light week, as you said. Unfortunately, I haven't been spending much time in other Marvel things, Marvel properties, Marvel games, because, I've just been busy. I have a full-time job now. But Avengers isn't doing that much either, so we don't have to sweat. There's not much to catch up on.
Christian, they knew you were starting a new job. They were like, all right, let's keep a light week.
Yes.
Christian needs to get used to some things.
Yeah. I very much appreciated Crystal Dynamics. I mean, I'll ask you this right here, Jack, because there's no other good time to bring it up. We'll get to Fury's report in a second. We're recording this on Thursday, October 20th. This is releasing, again, Saturday, the 22nd. We're sandwiching the release of a game that I think is pretty similar to Marvel's Avengers in that it's a superhero action RPG with lots of controversy going into its launch. That is Gotham Knights. Are you picking it up? Because I know that there is probably some overlap between Agents of Excelsior, fans of the Avengers game, who probably like Batman. Maybe it's the people that have been following along with the Batman Long Play Club, but specifically that gear chase ARPG superhero game. Your next one is Gotham Knights. Like, what are you looking at that right now? How are you feeling about it? Do you think Avengers is going to be the better game of the two when all is said and done? How are you looking at this situation?
I'm not looking forward to it, and I'm not planning on getting it anytime soon, unfortunately. Despite really loving Batman and the Batman mythos, I have no particular interest in this. And this is something I was waiting on reviews for, because seeing it when they first announced it and seeing it like throughout the years, which is weird to say because it's been a while, like 2020, I think they announced it. I was really interested, and I really loved the concept of Batman being dead, which there's no way he actually is in the game. I don't know if that's true, but like, come on.
I know the thing. I won't say it, but I know. I'll tell you off air, because the game isn't even out yet, but I did read the leaks on that.
I'm sure it's nothing surprising. But in any case, a game 99% centered on the underlings of Batman has always been really, really interesting to me. And like, what does it mean for them to take over the mantle of being Gotham's protectors? But I think with all of the weird decisions of like the gear and the looter sort of situation in like a single player game was not great. Like, I don't love that stuff in Avengers, to be honest, but I get it because it is sort of like a live servicey game, and I don't think it's horrible in Avengers, but it just seems kind of unnecessary in Gotham Knights. And all the reviews that have been pouring out have been surprisingly low. Like, I was expecting this to sit at like a bunch of 7s, but we're getting 4s and 5s from like very big
Yeah.
sites that don't often give out 4s and 5s for big games. And it just seems like there's so many tech issues with the game, and I don't know. It's nothing I really want to spend money on.
Yeah. A while ago, I was surprised the closer we were getting to launch that there wasn't a Game Pass announcement for this game, just because it had the vibe. It's just every single time I think of this game, especially every time I hear a headline about it the last couple months, I think back to when I think it was you, me, and Kevin were watching DC Fandom when this game got announced and showcased, and we were so locked in. It was showing that initial demo. It was Batgirl going through the streets, Mr. Freeze taking everything over, and then bloop, Robin has joined the session, and then we were just like, ah, no.
Yep.
What
What a
time.
roller coaster of a stream that was.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, we didn't even know, is this like Avengers? Like, what exactly is going on here?
Yeah, and funny enough, it's apparently very much like Avengers because they have like a 4-player mode that's coming to the game. So like wild times, superhero ARPGs, so much potential there, you know? Diablo, what an example. But sometimes you just can't get everything to be the best way it should, you know?
Yeah, it's upsetting because it's been so long since we've had a really great Batman game. Like 2015 was Arkham Knight. That's been a really long time. And for this to come out in the state it is, like especially with all the tech issues, that really upset me seeing the Digital Foundry review with
Yeah.
like they can't hit a stable 30. It has loading screens that are egregious in a lot of instances. It like the game was announced in 2020 for 2021, and it seems like clearly not as bad as a Cyberpunk situation, but it could have been, hey, we should probably push this for a year so we can at least have a locked 30. Because if you're releasing a game in 2022 without having at least a locked 30 frames per second frame rate, that's a really big issue.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, I feel like the Avengers launch was probably sloppier in terms of performance. I mean, I don't have firsthand account of Gotham Knights. I did have 3 days early access to Marvel's Avengers, right? And that was palatable, right? I'm not some person who needs 60 frames to enjoy a game, but there was definitely dips on PS4 when Avengers came out. So like I think at the end of it all, my interest is just like, wow, these games ended up being a lot more similar than we thought they were going to be when this was announced. Because this was announced like leading up to the Avengers launch, like a month before that game came out. So wild story. I hope Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Is that the one that's going to be the saving grace, Jack?
I mean, maybe. I do feel like Avengers, at the end of the day, I mean, maybe the public sentiment will be higher on Marvel's Avengers. It seems like a definite better game than Gotham Knights does right now, from the outside looking in. Obviously, I'm not going to be playing that game, so I won't be able to make that final judgment. But like, at least, I mean, it's been supported for a couple of years now, in a variety of different ways. It has like meaningful multiplayer in some capacity, where Gotham Knights seems like the co-op is just kind of additive. So yeah, that's at least something Marvel's Avengers can hang its hat on.
Yep, and we'll see just how long they can do that for. But what's new in the game this week? Well, not, new, but maybe new to you. Tachyon Anomaly is the event running until October 27th. While you can participate in that event to get your better gear drops, because it is the highlighted event, you will also be earning triple XP if you're playing as Captain America. That is also running until the 27th. And we'll get to Captain America in just a bit because he is now the trend, the triple XP person gets ownership over the shop for the week, which again, a couple more things to update, but then we will get to the marketplace. If you're still kicking around, if you're a slacker, if you are procrastinating, you have 11 more days as of this recording, 9 more if you're listening to this the day it posts, to get the free MCU outfits for Iron Man, Cap, and Thor. I will stop saying this at some point. If they push it one more time, Jack, if they just make it a thing again, I'm never bringing it up on this podcast ever again.
All right. We'll hold you to it.
Please do. If they put in different skins, I'll mention it. But how long are you going to celebrate the second anniversary?
That's true. Yeah, it's been, certainly been over 2 years at this point. Like, when was it? Like the 17th? September something or another?
I thought it was like 3rd. September 3rd.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
But I was going to say, maybe it is fitting that we're still celebrating the second anniversary because if you remember, features that were supposed to be there at launch took several months to be implemented. So maybe it's just celebrating that launch era,
Sure. And eventually we're going to get that cloning lab, and that's full circle.
Yeah. That'll be the end of the 2-year anniversary celebration.
Yep.
What a game. If you are still chipping away at your shipments for the month, you have until November 3rd. Captain America's Secret Empire outfit is still the shipment highlighted outfit in the game. That is going to be a guaranteed drop once you claim 100 of those bad boys. So if you have not finished it, keep on grinding. You're almost there. Or you can get a different skin, arguably maybe a cooler skin, I don't know, in the marketplace if you want to front some cash. What's going on there, Jack?
Yeah, this is the one we talked about last week. And it seems like that was maybe a mistake for them to include that because they didn't really show it off all that much. But this is Captain America's Gladiator outfit from the 2015 Planet Hulk storyline. It's exactly what you think. This is Captain America's Gladiator. Looks really cool. He's got blonde hair, though. Now that I'm noticing that feels wrong.
Cap is blonde, isn't he?
Is he that blonde, though?
That's a good point.
That's like a bleach blonde hair situation.
Yeah.
Also, does he have a ponytail wrapped around
I think he does, yeah.
Wow. All right, I'm stewing on this one for a while.
Comics Cap I've seen with bright blonde hair before, to be fair.
Yeah, saturation is very high. But yeah, it's pretty cool. He looks like a gladiator. Similar to like how Thor kind of looks on Sakaar in Ragnarok. That's kind of the vibe Captain America is going for here. And man, gotta highlight the shield. Love the shield redesigns. I'm so glad that they do that. It'd be really distracting if they didn't. This is like a war-torn sort of vibe. The star is very different. It is like more of a cutout rather than an actual emblem. It's got some like cuts and discoloration across the shield itself. So yeah, this is a cool one.
I'm with you. I immediately got Thor vibes because you're right. They did sneak this into a bundle last week for the, I think it was called like the Spooktacular bundle or something. I absolutely at first glance was like, oh, is that Thor? It's like, oh no, it's Captain America. But yeah, that's what you're getting if you want the newness in the marketplace. There's also a sale, of course, on Captain America. Everything excluding this new outfit and his MCU outfits are 50% off. So costumes, emotes, nameplates, takedowns. Have at it. Enjoy your Captain America. Probably, I don't know, get like a firework emote. There's probably one of those in there. But
yeah, gotta be.
That's it for Avengers. So meanwhile, there's some other things going on in the Marvel Universe. First up, this is an ongoing story. I saw a tweet that added to this headline when we took our brief pause before we started recording. Deadpool is taking over the Midnight Suns Twitter account. in some meta marketing thing that they're doing because, Deadpool, fourth wall breaker himself. Are you into that? Are you into the Deadpool style marketing for things? Like, I think Ryan Reynolds with his Deadpool marketing does it well, but I've definitely seen some egregious Deadpool marketing.
I get that. I do like this because I like Nolan North.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't remember the last time Nolan North has been Deadpool. Like, obviously, he had the 360 Deadpool game.
Did you ever
What
play
did
that?
he? I never played it, no.
I remember Kevin streamed it on youtube.com/joyclicks. He did a full playthrough of that game for
Really?
some reason, and he hated it. But to answer your question, I do think Nolan North voiced him in Ultimate Alliance 3, which was the
Okay.
Switch game from a couple years ago. But since then, I could not tell you the last time I heard Nolan North do Deadpool.
Yeah, I figure he probably pops up in a bunch of different, like, smaller Marvel
Mm-hmm.
games. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Marvel Snap has voice acting, but I can see him being in that.
Yeah.
But this was cool. I mean, I don't know if I would expect Deadpool to be in Midnight Suns. I guess Deadpool is one of those characters that could be in any team up
Yeah.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it seems like this is going to happen. Like, this Midnight Suns wouldn't tweet this if he wasn't going to be in the game. So,
Yeah.
like, DLC at some point, maybe? Pre-order bonus? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because they did showcase a teaser image of DLC, and I think it was like, oh, that's probably. I think the speculation was Moon Knight, maybe, and like a couple other characters that people could tie some things to. And I want to say in that graphic for their season pass, there were bullet holes, and people were like, what would that be? So if Deadpool isn't in the main roster, which honestly I would hope he's in the main roster, I would feel bummed if you put Deadpool behind DLC as somebody who like might pick this game up since I skipped on the other superhero game I was considering this year. Um, I would hope he's in the roster, the base game, because I feel like that's a cool addition to, you know, not necessarily have a comedic relief because you do have Spider-Man in the main roster, but like just something to. It's like when you put some dairy in some hot sauce, and you cut through the heat a little bit. This game is very
Sure.
intense, and I feel like Deadpool being in here could just be like a nice palate cleanser to a degree.
Sure, that makes sense. And I'm curious about if this is DLC for the game. Like, what does that strategy look like? Because to me,
Yeah.
it seems like this is like a linear sort of progress of the story
Mm-hmm.
with your heroes. And would the DLC, like, if that comes out a few months later, is that just, hey, now Deadpool's in the game, so you have to start over the
Mm-hmm.
game with Deadpool? I don't know if that makes too much sense to me. So even if it is like a pre-order bonus, like, I guess that's fine. I'd rather have Deadpool from the start
Yeah, I
rather than
agree.
like an addition.
I mean, there's also a possibility that some of the DLC characters could bring with them story, right?
Mm.
Where I've played Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I love that. That's a strategy game, and eventually they did a DLC which added some new characters and like a middle chapter to the game. I never went back to it. I'm planning on when I do a replay for a different story path, but I know like the Mario and Rabbids strategy game, they did a Donkey Kong DLC, and that was just a completely separate campaign. So I think there's a room for something like that, but again, it feels weird. I know there's been delays, but it feels weird to talk about characters that will be coming down the line with your season pass when the game is still 2 months out or a month and a half right now. Um, but I agree with you. I do like the marketing they're doing here. I think it's funny. I like Nolan North as Deadpool. He's way more crass, I think, than the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool can be, probably because of the delivery. But the promo video was very funny. I like that it's a bad green screen and you can see like a dithering effect of like it's not chroma keyed correctly. Like I think that's funny.
Yeah.
But the development that happened recently was that hashtag Deadpool Suns is the new name of the Midnight Suns account. tweeted out about Storm. So apparently, I think he announced that Storm is one of the characters in the game. This was not known before. This could have been in a leak before, but officially, Storm has been added to the roster of Midnight Suns. So
Very cool. Yeah, I'm just looking at that now. That's great. I think it's cool that Midnight Suns is pulling from different like teams throughout the Marvel universe. So like we have X-Men characters, Avengers characters, kind of standalone heroes here and there. So it's really cool to see Storm in here. I feel like I don't really know too much about Storm except through like the X-Men movies. So it'd be nice to learn a little bit more about her through this game.
yeah, the only thing I really know beyond the typical knowledge of the X-Men films is that at one point she was married to T'Challa. So I don't know if that's something they'll play up in the game. Is Black Panther in this game? Do we know?
Ooh, that's a great question.
He'd be a really cool character to be in here.
I feel like he could be in here, but I forget.
I don't know.
Let me look at the key art.
Regardless, I'm very excited to see more of Midnight Suns. The closer we get to it, the more I'm like kind of feeling a game like that. So this is fun. I like Deadpool. I'm sure he's gonna have some cool abilities with all those cards. How that's gonna work out. But
I forgot about the whole card thing.
yeah, I know. It could still be good though. It could still be good.
Yeah. I'm not a card guy. I mean, maybe I haven't been introduced to a good card system, but I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's for me.
Yeah. Well, you know what is for probably Mike Connors, host of Jedi Knights.
What's that?
And I would imagine you too, but Mike for sure. Harrison Ford, what a guy. What an
what a
actor.
guy. Yep.
We talked about this already, but I think it was a rumor when we talked about it last week. It's been confirmed through the Hollywood Reporter that Harrison Ford is going to be playing Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU. It's been updated recently via Deadline, I think, talking about the production of everything, where he's going to be playing Ross in both Thunderbolts and Captain America 4. And currently the rumors are that Captain America 4 is going to begin filming in March. So, new era, Thunderbolt Ross, maybe building up to some Red Hulk thing in the Thunderbolts film, but
I can't imagine seeing Harrison Ford as a Hulk.
dude, oh my
And we're getting that. So that's going to be very interesting.
I think he needs to express the rage in his heart for playing Han Solo in the 21st century. I think he's just had that pent up. And the fact that he had to do it twice, like, I think he will have fun with this, is my guess.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see his approach to this, especially off camera. Like, I want to hear the interviews with him.
Yeah.
Like, why did you decide to do this? Because he's very candid as a human being.
Uh-huh.
So I want to hear that. And, like, I don't like when people are like, wow, I can't believe Marvel got this person. It's like, of course they did. Marvel's the biggest thing in the world. So, but still, it is surprising that Harrison Ford decided to do this. And we talked about it earlier because his disdain for Star Wars, in a lot of ways. Maybe not. Maybe disdain's a little too harsh, but he is very flippant about Star Wars, much more than he is about other roles that we found out. Like Indiana Jones, he's very emotional about, which was surprising. But for him to join this, popcorn, big, one of the biggest things in the world, MCU, as Thunderbolt Ross, is very interesting and very exciting. I'm glad he's now officially joined the MCU.
Definitely. You know who else might be joining the MCU?
Who's that?
Mephisto.
Fool me once.
The devil did it, Jack. What's that? I feel like Michael Caine said that in something like the greatest trick the devil ever pulled. Was that something he said,
That
or
was
is
a good.
that?
That was a good Michael Caine.
Thank you.
In the Prestige, maybe. Are you talking about Batman?
Is that quote from like like greater literature, or like the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist? Is that just from like some stupid bro movie from like 2005?
Oh, I don't know. I've no clue.
That might be like a Wall Street thing. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I feel like I don't know where I'm going with this, but I do feel like Michael Caine said that in one movie before. So I was
I don't
gonna
know.
I was gonna try and tie it back into the Mephisto thing, like what you're saying. Anyway, Deadline, again, typically on point with these things, has been able to confirm through one of their sources close to the production of multiple MCU projects that Mephisto is apparently coming into play. And Mephisto is being played by none other than Sacha Baron Cohen.
So this character is going to be really stupid, is what that tells me.
Sure.
I don't know if anyone can take this character seriously with Sacha Baron Cohen playing. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like, what's he done aside from Borat and Bruno that people are like, man, this guy's got the chops?
So I know there's something, and I can't tell you what it is, but I do remember for a period of time there was like a discussion of him going to be playing Freddie Mercury in the Queen biopic, but he wanted to go in like this really dark, raw direction, and the band was like, no, we want to make it a family film. So then they got Rami Malek, but I feel like with the MCU, like I hear Mephisto, I want them to go Scott Derrickson, Sam Raimi vibe, but they will probably go Taika Waititi vibe. And I think it just depends on what movie he's in, honestly, because I could see Sacha Baron Cohen like leaning into like a character for it, but like still being pretty evil, dark, emo boy versus slapsticky. I think there's an avenue for either.
Sure. I think that's a good point. I'm leaning towards slapsticky, like
Sure.
very hard. I guess like I don't really care because I don't really know too much about Mephisto.
Mm-hmm.
I know him like slightly from the comics. But man, what a time that was in January, February of 2021, where everyone was on the Mephisto train.
Yeah. So there is a project that he's rumored to be appearing in, and it's definitely not the one you would guess. It's not anything involving like the quantum realm or that we know of, or things like that. No mystic arts. Apparently, he's been around the set of Ironheart.
Yeah, that's weird. That is a very weird project for Mephisto to show up in.
Yes.
And is that a Disney Plus show or is that a movie?
It's hard to keep track of these days, but I think it's a show.
Okay. Show for now.
Yes. But, I mean, like, unless he's introducing a different character, right? Because we know Riri Williams is being introduced in Wakanda Forever, and that is going to probably lead into her Ironheart show. Like, the show could be like, hey, Mephisto just signed a deal with Norman Reedus, and we'll see you in a Ghost Rider thing, like, it could be that, or maybe she's just doing a deal with the devil to get some of this tech. I don't know, but weirdest rumor, and the fact that it's like kind of substantiated, I think, is what makes this even weirder.
Yeah, very, very, very odd on all counts. So, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to handle Mephisto. I don't. And for them to bring it up with Ironheart, that seems like two different, completely different things.
Yeah, so in your eyes, right, somebody who is very outspoken about your distaste for most of the, hellish, demony, to some extent, some of the Doctor Strange stuff in Marvel, how would you prefer Mephisto to be handled, right? Because, like you said, it's going to be difficult with just the history and baggage of that name in the MCU in this era, but also with Sacha Baron Cohen. Like, is there a direction where you would like to see them lean that could be at least interesting to you, even if, you know, the the scenario or the fact that they're just, introducing the devil might not be something you're into?
Yeah, I guess maybe not make him. I know that they say it's like Marvel's devil, but like don't make him, Satan or Lucifer who fell from heaven.
The
That'd be
devil
weird.
from the Bible.
Yeah, don't do that. And I don't think they will. Like if he was like maybe like the MCU's version of like just a capital D demon. Sure, that's fine. I would like him to be serious, but something like what you mentioned, I don't really like the sort of demonic side of Marvel, and I think a lot of that is because I I feel like anytime they introduce like a bunch of like smaller villains or like any sort of demons in general, it's just very loose. Like any of the rules associated with them, I don't really understand. So if they just make it simplified, um, I feel like and make him imposing in some way, like Dormammu, I feel like maybe a good example where you kind of get it and he's not very present throughout the entirety, but it's more the idea of him is scary. I think maybe that is probably the approach I'd want them to take.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would hope it's that as well, personally. But I don't know what the barometer for that is with Marvel lately, right? Because if you look at the recent addition to that sort of area of Marvel, it's Multiverse of Madness. And Multiverse of Madness, while it does lean into demonic elements, it presents them in a way that I feel like is in its own kind of little pocket where it's not fully uh, slapstick, but it's not really like terrifying. It's Raimi, right? So like it's hard to judge what direction they would go in with this character or this sort of realm currently, right? Because the most recent example is kind of an anomaly. So I would hope it's at least something closer to the Raimi level, but like what you're saying would be ideal. I think my main worry with that it is just going to be like a whomp whomp sort of a introduction or use, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of my worry as well.
So we will see as we approach. But there is really not much else going on in Marvel. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about this week? I'm going to be traveling for the next week, so we won't have an episode. But any final thoughts? Any resolutions of conversations that we've had
Uh,
this week?
Not really. It is sort of a lighter period for the MCU. She-Hulk wrapped up. We had Werewolf by Night. I assume we'll probably get a behind the scenes thing with She-Hulk maybe next week or the week after.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Black Panther's coming up really soon. I have
Yeah,
tickets
it
for that.
is.
I'm very, very excited for that. That's like, I think 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks from this episode releasing. So very exciting. But yeah, really not too much going on.
Really not much indeed. But we will be back in November. Look at that. Happy
That's wild.
Halloween in the meantime.
Yep.
Uh, do you, I'll end there. Do you have any fun Halloween plans? If not, you can just go ahead with your sign off. But any nice little spooky treats for the 31st this year?
Nothing like Marvel related. I'm doing Homecoming for our alma mater, which will be
Shout out.
exciting, which is that weekend. But maybe I'll rewatch Werewolf by Night
Yeah.
because that was good
Mm-hmm.
and it's really quick. But do you have any Halloween plans?
I'm gonna be in New York, so like whatever festivities we can find. But
Visit the Sanctum Sanctorum.
dude, I should do that. Well, Jack, as always, it's been a pleasure. So where can the agents of Excelsior find you until next time?
Sure, you can follow me on Twitter at FascinatedJack, where we've wrapped up for the most part, we've wrapped up our Arkham City discussion on the Long Play Club, which you can find on youtube.com/joyclicks or on podcast services of your choice. We're going to be talking about the Harley Quinn's Revenge DLC sometime soon, so look out for that. But yeah, in the meantime, we'll be talking about Arkham Knight at some point in November. So you can look forward to that. But Christian, what about you?
For sure. You can find me on Twitter, TikTok at Chun2D2, as well as here, youtube.com/joyclicks for the video version of Excelsior every weekend, alongside Apple Podcasts, Spotify. For the audio version, just look up Excelsior, Avengers Podcast, Joyclicks. You'll see everything we do. Or you can just look at it on the YouTube channel. Like Jack said, we got the Long Play Club up there. We got episodes of Arkham City releasing in the coming weeks for you. Despite me being away, you'll still be getting to hear myself and Jack talk about superheroes just in Batman form. But we will return in the future very shortly. You can support the shows if you don't want to just leave a little rating and review. That takes a quick second by going to patreon.com/joyclicks at the $1 and $5 tiers. $5 will give you producer credit on every show we produce, like Aaron Easton and Jose Garcia. So thank you once again. We'll be back. Have a safe and fun Halloween. Enjoy some Marvel things. I hope you enjoyed Gotham Knights if you did pick it up. Or I'm sorry if you did pick it up, depending on how you feel with it. But until we return, Excelsior.
Excelsior.